Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to another De Montfort University live stream. We are just going to be making a start in just a few minutes. You're joining us today for the Student Life. Good morning. Thank you very much for commenting. You're joining us for the Student Life live stream this morning. So hopefully you are tuning in on Facebook. I can see the number ticking up, so we've got a few views already. You're joining us on Facebook, which is where we've already had a comment come through. Yes, good morning. If you are joining us this morning, make sure you give us a little wave in the comments to let me know that you are there. If you're joining us on the website or on YouTube, like I say again, you can obviously give us a little like, you can give us a little wave on there. Let me know what you're up to this morning. Let me know if you've got a cup of tea ready, a cup of coffee ready, whatever it is. You'll be joining us on the live stream with some of our current students very, very shortly. If you can't see from the little tag down there, my name is Ben. I work in the marketing team. And again, like I say, you won't be stuck with me for the whole stream. I have got some current students and some current graduates that will be joining us in just a few moments. So yes, do make sure you give us a little wave in the comments before we get started. If you're viewing on the website, if you do just click on, if you like tap on the little video, I think there's a link to YouTube there, and that will take you through to the comments if you can't see them at the moment. So if you do want to give us a little comment at any point during the stream, it'd be really nice to get some of your questions come through as well later on. So we'll try and get some of our students to answer those as well. So anything at all that you want to ask one of our current students, just make sure you pop those in there. You can see that the numbers trickling up there. So hopefully it should be a really interesting stream over the next sort of hour or so. Get a few more comments in, all really good stuff. Right, to make sure I've got everything sorted, and then I can start to bring in some of my guests. Hello, Shan. Thank you very much for a little wave there. Excellent stuff. Just makes me feel like I'm not lonely here on the live stream when people comment, that's all. Let's start to bring in some guests. Hello, Jeanette. Hello, Andreas. Thank you very much for joining us on Facebook and YouTube. Excellent stuff. Right, let's get. Hello, bro. Hello, Sai. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Apologies if I do butcher anybody's name here. Let's bring in some of our guests, some of our current students that are going to be telling you all about their life here at De Montfort University. I'm going to introduce you to them one by one. They're going to get the stage for just a few moments just to introduce themselves, and then we'll move into some of our questions. So like I say, as the stream goes on, do make sure you pop any questions that you have at all throughout the stream into the comments on Facebook or YouTube. First person I would like to introduce you to this morning is Dennis. Hello, Dennis. How are you, sir?
Hey, what's up? I'm good. I'm pretty good, actually.
Good.
So my name is Dennis. I am from the beautiful Twin Island Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. As you can see from the background right here, I have my nice flag hung in my room, along with some other flags from different Caribbean countries where I have a lot of different friends. I am currently pursuing my master's in air transport management at De Montfort University, and I am in the faculty of business and law, which in my opinion is the best faculty. Others might try to say otherwise, but yeah, and I look forward to actually answering some of the questions and just giving you guys some feedback on my perspective of student life.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dennis. We'll come back to Dennis in a few moments. If you have any questions for Dennis about his course or about his experience, he's going to be joining us on the stream. Next up, we have got Beatrice. Hello.
Hi. So my name is Beatrice. I'm from Portugal, and I'm a first-year student. I'm doing economics and finance. And yeah, I plan to work in like high finance, like investment banking or asset management. And yeah, that's that's it.
Thank you very much. So we've got a nice balance there between Dennis, who's doing his master's, and Beatrice, who is just finishing her first year. So we'll come back to the two of them in a few moments. Next person I'd like to introduce you to is Carolina. Are you there?
Hello, yes, I'm there. I'm so excited to be here and talk to all of you and see all of your questions. I am from Portugal as well. I do not have a flag behind me. I'm missing out clearly. I'm doing my master's in marketing management, and in the long term, I'd rather work with social media, PR, something like a bit influencing marketing as well. I'm very excited to be here. And I cannot wait to hear all of your questions.
Perfect. Lovely stuff. Thank you so much. So also joining me on the live stream are a couple of my colleagues who are, I guess, recent graduates. So they're going to be able to give some of their own experiences as well. Firstly, I'd like to introduce you to Ali. Hello, Ali.
Hi guys. So yeah, my name's Ali. I'm a former graduate in business and law from DMU University. I have been working in the schools and colleges team for a couple of years now as well. So I'll be really happy to answer any questions that anyone will have about that today.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Ali. And then last but certainly not least is my colleague and dear friend, Tay. Hello, Tay.
Hello. Hi. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having a good day so far. I see the sun just coming out. I am a recent graduate as well. I graduated in history. I was lucky enough to do an exchange program and also an internship in another country. So if you have any questions along those lines, feel free to ask them.
Excellent. I would say this is a real motley crew of students joining us here on the live stream. So hopefully we can answer any of your questions. Although there does seem to be a slight bias towards some of those business courses from the stream here. So Tay, you might be, well, myself and Tay are the slight odd ones out. I did a computer science degree a couple of years ago. So if you have any questions about that, I can always try and answer those as well. But I do really want to hear from our current students over the course of the next sort of hour or so about their experiences at university. And then we can dip into some of the experiences that Tay and Ali had as well throughout the stream. Just a couple of more shout outs in the comments just before we make a start. We've also had Overforest has given us a wave, Faye's given us smiley face, Reese, Jeanette's actually asked a question for Dennis, which we'll come on to in a second. Hen, Sai. So we've had quite a few people who are viewing and commenting, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, if you do have any questions throughout, do make sure you pop them over there. I think what we'll do is we'll make a start on some of our topics and some of our discussions, and then we'll start to dip into some of the questions that we're getting through the comments, if that sounds okay. So the first question I really have for particularly some of my current students at the minute is, how did you pick your course? So when you were in the stage of maybe some of our year 12s that are watching at the minute, how did you start to think about what course you wanted to do, and how did you start to make those decisions? And I think I'd really like to start with Carolina on this one and how you sort of chose your particular subject.
So I'm from Portugal, as I said. So my bachelor's was actually in international relations. And halfway through, I started to think of marketing as an option. So I decided it would be nice for me to grab the opportunity to come abroad and to actually explore that area. And it was very interesting to look for the course itself. There were a few things that I did. Firstly, I had to pretty much ask myself what would I want to study in particular, because for marketing, especially masters, you have loads of different areas that you can involve yourself in. So for me to pick up marketing management was a very tough decision. Then I started to look around pretty much. I started to see everything possible in the UK within the universities that I was most keen into getting in. And then I started to look for the modules, the particular aspects they had, the lectures. I honestly did a little bit of stalking, not going to lie, because I saw a few of the lecturers and tutors, and I started to stalk them on LinkedIn so that I could see what they've been up to, what kind of experiences they had, and make sure that I would actually be working with good professionals. And then the practical side, obviously was very important for me, working in marketing, to be sure that I was getting involved in a course that gives me a practical side. And that is very different from my country back home, because usually there it's more based on theory. So it was very important to me to get involved in something that provided me different options, either group works, internships, calls, seminars. So yeah, and I think that was mainly it. And then to make sure that I was getting into the right course and university and all, I started to stalk DMU as well. So to make sure that I was studying proper marketing and getting all of the bases that I need for the future, I started to stalk DMU online. So I started to see their marketing as well. And honestly, I started to be pretty obsessed. And that's why I'm here today. It was very nice. So thank you, DMU. I don't regret my decision.
Good. I think that's a good start, and it's a good way to start looking at your potential routes into your different careers and different ideas. So that's a good start to actually looking at your research. Does anybody else have anything to sort of add to the ways that you were sort of looking at your course?
I'm sure I could add to that.
Yeah.
One of the things that really pushed me, I guess, towards doing my master's in air transport management was I was always fascinated by aviation. I am an aviation fanatic. And I really, honestly, really wanted to be a pilot, right? So I did my bachelor's in tourism and hospitality management. And I really wanted to just continue going up that lane where I'll be more involved in aviation. So I definitely did a lot of research into where I can do my master's. I knew for a fact that I wanted to go to the United Kingdom because it has the same education system like the Caribbean. So, and I know that the British education system is actually top notch. So I really wanted that high level learning experience. So I just did a lot of different Google searches on masters in aviation, and then I was lucky enough to find DMU. So it was really and truly, I was really career oriented, I guess, in terms of choosing my next step after my bachelor's.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Just quickly say hello to some people in the chat. And I know we've got some questions, but we'll try and answer in a moment. So Stanley, Daisy, hello, Dal, Mohammed, Hen. Yeah, so we're going to try and jump into some of these questions in just a couple of moments. Does anybody else have anything they want to add into how you chose what course you were going to study?
I think, I can add something because, to be honest, I changed my course 3 times before economics and finance, and I think it was because in the beginning I planned to do business and management, but then it was because I actually didn't know much about careers in finance. So when I start searching more, it actually appear me like careers that I could see myself in. So yeah, that's why I changed. And I think it's all about searching and speaking with people and all that.
Lovely, thank you. I think I'm going to start trying to jump into some of these questions as well, just to kind of steer things towards what people are kind of interested in. So I think we'll just jump into the first one because this is going to come up a little bit later anyway. But we had one from Jeanette for Dennis, who actually asked, did you study business at college? And if so, what's the difference between the workload? So we're going to come on to a little bit to do with sort of the course life a little bit later. I wonder whether, Dennis, you could just pop on this now for Jeanette, who's watching at the minute.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much for that question. I wouldn't say that I did business per se, but it was very business oriented because I did my bachelor's in tourism and hospitality management. So we really looked at the business side of the hospitality industry, of tourism on a whole, actually. And you looked at accommodation, you look at travel, you look at, I think there's transportation as well, and you look at food, food and beverage as well. So yeah, it's definitely somewhat of the business side of the tourism industry. The difference in terms of workload is that I think at the master's level, it is more intense. So you have a lot more work to actually complete. You have to do a lot more independent study as well. That's something that I realized. Luckily for me, the course that I'm actually doing right now, I don't have to do exams, but I have to do like a lot of projects. Because as much as possible, the course tries to fit you with real life situations in the aviation industry. So yeah, that replaces us having to do exams. But the workload, it's manageable. Trust me, it's definitely manageable, especially if you have the good time management skills and so forth. Yeah, you.
Thank you very much. I hope you caught that from Dennis there. Does anybody else have anything they want to add to that or to the discussion about how you sort of picked your course? No? Happy? Good stuff. So yeah, make sure you do keep those questions coming because we will be trying to make sure we get through all of those. quick one from Mohammed, who did ask with regard to September intake. I'll just quickly say here as well, at the minute, all plans for that are still kind of going ahead. So just obviously keep an eye out if you have applied to start this year. Obviously, we'll try and make sure we update you as we sort of go. But also, I think Beatrice touched on something really nice there about something that Daisy asked in the comments. Is there an option to change your course after applying? I'm looking more perhaps Ali to just quickly touch on this one, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so with regards to changing courses, it is possible to do that, in particular if you want to change within the first 2 weeks. After that, it would be at the discretion of the academics for both the course that you're on and also the course that you want to move on to as well. But yeah, you can always speak to your student advice centre about this, and they'll be able to help you to do that. There is a little form that you have to fill in for that, but that should be absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, thank you very much. Next thing I want to just kind of move on to, and I know we've sort of touched on this already, but when you were sort of looking at different universities, how did you kind of go about picking actually where you wanted to go? We've talked a little bit about the course, and I think Carolina touched on this a little bit, how she was very interested in what DMU had to offer. But Dennis, could you just talk a little bit about your sort of experiences visiting open days, talking to academics and that sort of thing?
All right. So one of the things I would always tell people is that I love spreadsheets. I created a spreadsheet, and for this spreadsheet, each column had a different factor, I guess. Yeah, a different option for the different universities I wanted to go to, and in order for me to consider that university, all of those different let's say checks. Yeah, all those different things, they needed to have checks. If it didn't have the check that I really wanted, I would eliminate the university. And DMU actually had all the checks. And I would show anybody my spreadsheet because I still have this spreadsheet here. One of the things that really pushed me to come up for university is the diversity of the campus, especially seeing that it's like a little village by its own self. It's a city campus, yes, but the campus itself is like a little village, a little community, and I really, really love that. Another thing is that because I'm an international student, because I'm in the Caribbean, I was not able to actually visit the campus on open day. However, because we live in such a technological era, I was able to just log onto YouTube and just look at a lot of different videos. From the student bloggers, I was able to just look at different videos from events that they would have on campus. So a lot of these different things actually, it actually gives me that extra push that I really, really needed to go to DMU. And even when I applied, I did send an email to the program leader, and she actually responded to my email, and we actually had very good conversations even before I arrived at DMU. So I think those were some of the things that actually went into my whole thought process of choosing the Montfort University. A big thing as well is cost. Cost was a big factor for me, and I felt that Leicester would have been a great place for students to actually live in. And even living here right now, you can see that it is very cheap for a student. And I know other persons can agree with me. Living in Leicester is actually very cheap. Like I would spend probably like 50 quid for groceries for 2 months because I live alone and I really don't eat that much. So I would legit spend like 50 quid for basically 2 months worth of groceries. So that's something that I definitely considered as well. So yeah, that's how I chose to go for university.
Absolutely. Does anybody else have any sort of other similar experiences to Dennis's spreadsheets? Anybody want to jump in on that?
Oh, I think he did well.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. I think just something else to note on there as well is obviously with the current situation, with the current lockdown, is one of the reasons why we're doing live streams in this sort of format. But you can get quite a lot of information online. So there is the option to do, and I've popped these links in the comments for you as well. There is an option to do a virtual tour of our campus. So if you do want to have a look round our lovely campus, as Denny says, it's quite a nice sort of centralized campus. Everything's quite close by. So you can have a little look at that through the link just there. and that's like a virtual tour. It will take you through some of the buildings, and you're also able to have a look at accommodation, which is what we're going to come on to in a second. But then on the 4th of July, we are running a virtual open day, which will have lots and lots of information about the courses that we have on offer, and again, more opportunities about the campus and that sort of thing. So all of those things you can find using those links that I've popped in the comments. So they're definitely worth just having a little look at and just getting a bit more information that way. Hopefully we'll be able to talk a bit more about the campus and a bit more about the wider opportunities as we kind of move over the next sort of 40 minutes or so. Yeah, off the back of that then, let's talk accommodation. So Beatrice, I think you're obviously our youngest student, and you're just finishing your first year. How was it like sort of moving away from home and obviously moving into accommodation?
It was fine. I think I really enjoy to live without parents, because I think I was always like a bit independent. So it's really nice to like, it's not the fact that I can do like whatever I want, it's the fact that I have like my own independence, and I can manage my time to do, I don't know, to do like cleaning, or to go buy groceries, or to be with friends. So I really enjoy. But it was fine because I did a foundation year before this year. So in my year 0, I used to live at a flat which I rent. But then this year I decided to move into a student accommodation, and to be honest, I completely prefer to be at a student accommodation, because I have like my best friends living downstairs, and it's so nice because it's like we have meals together, we do things together. If I don't know, even if I'm going to buy groceries, I can just call them and ask them if they need to, and then we all go together, and it's nice. And also the fact that there's like other students without parents and all that living there, so you kind of feel like it's cozy, and you also meet a lot of like new people. And if it was like 3 years ago, I would never imagine that I would be currently living with I don't know, people from all over the world. So it's really nice, and I really enjoy. The thing is that I would recommend, which is a thing that I didn't thought, and I think most students don't thought about it, is the fact that, for example, for laundry, you need to pay. It depends on the accommodation, but usually to wash is like £3 something, and to dry it's £1 something as well. So I think it's definitely something that you should put on your budget when thinking to coming to university. And yeah, a really good thing about student accommodations is they are like super well located. Like I literally take 3 minutes to get out of my bed and go and be at my faculty, which is great. And there's even like closer. There are even accommodations that are even like closer to uni than mine. So imagine. And also for the art and design students, there's literally an accommodation which is like you get out of the building of your accommodation, and you in the faculty where you have classes, it's on the other side of the road. You take like 30 seconds. So they are definitely conveniently located.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as I said, I think the good thing is like the sense of independence. And I think parents usually think that, oh, she or he is going to live alone, he is not going to manage and all that. But it's not, I don't think so, because then like we end up learning, and you become more responsible. And so I completely think like it's fine. And you will, if you have any doubts. So for example, I when I came to the UK, it was the first time that I used like a laundry machine. I've never used before, and I just called a friend of mine that was in the UK as well to ask how does it works. because if I can work with the iPhone, I can work with a laundry machine. So I eventually learned how to do it, and now I'm kind of a master at laundry machines.
I think that's quite a nice story, actually. And you know what? I think it was the same thing for me. Is before going to university, I had no idea how to use a washing machine. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add on with accommodation? I think, Beatrice, you've added an awful lot there, and I think it was a really good experience. Does anybody else have any other sort of accommodation experiences? No?
I think so. No.
Tay, then I just want to quickly just jump to yourself for a second, and I know Ali, you were in a similar boat, but Tay, during your university, you actually stayed at home. How was that different to accommodation?
I think it was quite a little bit of difference. I did apply to universities outside of Leicester. There was one option that I was going to move to Sheffield, but somehow my Asian parents, my Indian parents, convinced me to stay at home because I would save so much money, and food was also the, kind of the what do you call it? Temptation as well, I guess. So living at home has its benefits and it has its disadvantages, but there's more, so living at home, the benefits was food, Indian food. I don't have to cook. Come home after a long day, didn't have to worry about any food at all. Shopping as well, grocery shopping. I didn't have to put that extra time. This would save me time. Also cleaning. I guess my house was like, my brothers would clean and everything. So in terms of that, and there was a lot of support. They would understand that, I was going to university to study. So they were like, you focus on your studying rather than anything else. And they would be mindful of that, dropping me off at university. I could stay there for longer and they wouldn't have to worry about where I was. But the downside is maybe instead of cleaning one room, you would have to clean the whole house, which was fine, but it's just one of those things. And also sometimes, when you're living with your parents and your family, you have a lot more people. So maybe during exam time, you would spend more time at the university than you would at home. So I didn't see any difference. I did spend a lot of time with people who did move away from home, and I got to experience their accommodation as well. And one thing I would say, if you are staying at home, universities have lots of different opportunities like internships and exchange programs. If you are living at home, take those, because what that will give you is a little bit of that university experience of living away from home, and you'd get to experience, you wouldn't be missing out on anything.
Perfect, thank you so much. Jumping back into some of our accommodation related questions. I know that for those of you that filled out the booking form prior to the stream, submitted some of those questions. So we're just going to quickly go through those as well now. If you do have any questions about accommodation, obviously make sure you drop those in the chat now, or we can discuss those a little bit at the end. So just very quickly, the first question that we had was, is accommodation guaranteed? Can I pass this over to you, Ali, very quickly?
Yeah, sure. So obviously with guaranteed accommodation, it is on a university by university basis. So universities will normally be able to tell you whether they have scope for that. But what I would normally say with regards to accommodation is to apply as early as you possibly can. That way you're able to make sure that you're booking the room of your choice and reserving the accommodation of your choice as well. A lot of students, want to sometimes live with friends, or when they come together to a new city, or even if it's about closeness to where you're studying, it's really important that you take that into account as well.
Lovely, thank you very much. The next question I'm going to jump us into is, do most students stay on campus at weekends? That was submitted by Sosha. Again, apologies if I've said the name wrong. So students staying on campus over the weekends, or do they all go home? Does anybody want to answer that very quickly?
Yeah, I can answer that. Loads of students stay during the weekends. Of course, you have students who live at home, so they have to commute anyway, but most of the students are either international or decided to move to Leicester. So when you take your time off and when you go for a walk in the city, or you just want to enjoy your weekend, you see a city full of life and a city full of students. So you can actually tell that they spend a lot of time in here, and you have them in the cafes, in the library, in the restaurants. You can actually tell that they stay in here. So it's very nice for you to make friends as well, which is something that I'm reading all the comments and people are asking. So it's very good for you to mingle a little bit with everyone.
Good stuff. Thank you. Excellent. We have just had a comment in from YouTube from Daisy, who said, "Is accommodation mixed between boys and girls?" I guess the quick answer to that is, for most of them, yes, I believe. Does anybody want to jump on? Oh, Beatrice.
I think you can ask, like, in the beginning when you are making your booking. I think you can ask them if you prefer to live like only with girls or only with boys. You can ask them, and they can try to arrange it. But it's not something like fixed. Usually it's mixed. For example, I used to live with 3 girls and 1 boy. But like, I don't think it really matters, because I didn't see them that much, to be honest, because we all have like different lives and different time schedules. So, but it's fine. Like, everyone is like really respectful, but if you feel more comfortable to live like only with boys or only with girls, you can ask them, and they can try to arrange it for you.
Cool. Thank you very much. A couple more questions here coming through on YouTube. Somebody said, is accommodation separated between years? Generally not, but that does tie into another question that we had from the booking form, which was, when I can find it, are the halls for first years around the entire university, so some are closer to certain subject buildings? Not really, but we have got a bit of a mixture of accommodation dotted around campus, which I think Beatrice talked about earlier when she was saying that art and design students have got it lucky that one of the buildings is literally over the road. But in terms of things like private accommodation, does anybody else have experiences using sort of private accommodation that's maybe a little bit further away or anything like that that we could jump onto?
I think I can speak about that because I'm in private accommodation. Where the private accommodation that I'm in, everybody have their own room, their own space. It's all studio apartments. So really and truly, you're not living with people in the same year, honestly. So I don't know everybody who's living on this floor. So it really doesn't matter that much, you could say. Just want to answer all the questions. Yeah, it doesn't really matter that much, and especially where I'm at as well, we have some students here from the University of Leicester as well. So it's a very mixed group, to be honest. Someone else, no, not someone else. The other question that was there, about halls for first years. I know that there's a hall, specifically for the nursing students. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's also one that's dedicated towards postgrad students as well. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. We're getting accommodation questions coming in thick and fast from YouTube. So again, thank you very much for dropping those in there. If we can't answer it during this part of the stream, we'll try and come back to them at the end as well. Ella has said, and I might pass this very quickly over to you, Ali, as well, is how early in terms of months do we need to apply for accommodation before starting to university? You able to just jump on that as well, Ali?
Yeah. No. So with regards to accommodation, as soon as the university says that it is open, you would need to make sure that you have accepted your offer, and then the university should be able to provide you with login details for the accommodation site. But we would normally say that with regards to limited spaces for certain accommodations, it's really important that you're considering this early enough so that you're able to pay for the deposit, as well as various other factors that you'll need to take into account with accommodation, so that you're ready to move in when the term starts.
Cool. So I think that covers a little bit to do with sort of accommodation, and so we've got lots and lots to get through, and I can see again a few more comments coming through. So I think what we'll do is we'll move into discussing stuff to do more with sort of course life. So when you can get yourself out of bed in the morning and you do go to those lectures, what is it like? So I'm going to start very quickly with Beatrice, just talk a little bit about your sort of experiences on your course, and then I'll hand it over to Carolina and Dennis to talk about their experiences on the course.
Sorry, Can you repeat the question, because my computer just stopped
That's
and
okay.
then come back.
Just talk about your experiences on the course.
Oh, my experience on the course. So, as I said, I changed my course 3 times, but I'm pretty sure about what I want. And so, basically, as you may know, like in my course, we have final exams. We have also like coursework. So I usually use the library like a lot because it's really big, and I don't know, it's just comfortable to be there with all the students. And basically, we also have tutorials and lectures, and usually we have like 1 hour per week of tutorials, and then of each module, and then we have lectures. And basically, the tutorials are for you to practice what you learn during the lectures. And also, if you have like any questions, or for example, if I don't know, if sometimes you might be in a course where you have some group work. So basically, you have to sometimes you use the tutorials to do a little bit of the group work as well, and also to tell your teacher like how's everything, if you are handling the things correctly. So I think it's basically that. And also, for example, my course involves a lot of maths. So I usually go to the library to the class programs, which is basically where you can have free tutorials of maths. And as I said, like they are literally completely free. I remember back when I was in high school, I used to pay like sometimes 40 euros per hour to have like maths tutorials. And at the university is completely free, which is great. But to be honest, I haven't used them like that much because the teaching is really good. And also with the tutorials, if you have any difficulties or something, you can always book an appointment with your teacher. So it's basically that. And also, since I'm an international student, I usually, before I submit my assignments or essays, for example, I usually go to the library, and I ask the librarians to review it first, like to correct any mistakes or something. So, which is great. And they can also help you with, for example, like referencing, academic writing, things like that. So it's great.
Brilliant. I think that's good to just highlight that. Oh, we might have lost Dennis. Okay, sometimes there are casualties of war with live streams, and that's okay. But that ties a little bit in what Beatrice just said. It ties in a little bit to a question we had a little bit earlier from Hen, who said, do they have to conduct class presentations as part of the course? And obviously, as we've got a few international students, I think I've seen a few of you guys in the comments who maybe aren't massively confident with your English and doing those sort of public speaking. Now, as you said, there are classes and things like that available to sort of support those students. And yes, obviously presentations are part of that. So hopefully you can take advantage of some of these classes just to help kind of support you with those. Does anybody else want to tap into the sort of presentation side of things just while we're here? I'll add Dennis back in. There he is.
Yeah, I think it depends on course to course. Like some courses do have a lot of presentations and some really don't. With history and a lot of like the humanities kind of subjects, there would be like one module where you would have to present, your findings and your research about a particular topic. And with those presentations, university has a lot of help, so if you aren't confident, or if you're not, if you're not sure about things, there are students and there are like staff members there who will be able to help you and get over these. With international students, if you are having problems with your English or anything such, we do have an international office, and they do help, have those extra classes or extra English lessons for free as well, where, you're able to improve those skills. And, for our course with history, we did have a lot of students, and I had issues like with, speaking, because I'm originally from India, and I didn't think my English was good at that time, and I did think my English wasn't great, and I did. But once you're reaching out to the right people, and you speak to your lecturer as well, that hey, I might have a little bit of worry, but then after you speak to them and after you start presenting them, you'll be fine. Once you start those presentations and once you get the hang of it, it should be fine.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Dennis has changed the camera angle slightly, but he's definitely back in the room.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay, don't worry. So the other question that we had was sort of how many hours a week do you have classes? Now, I know this varies from person to person, but can I start with Carolina just to talk a little bit about that and maybe touch on your undergraduate as well?
Yeah, so okay, I'm doing my master's, so it's quite different, the hourly rate that we have a week, but I would say it is around 14, 15 hours of classes, but you are expected to actually work behind, and you have assignments, and you have to read tons of articles and books and be in touch with your teachers as well, and you have seminars, as Beatrice mentioned before. So overall, besides having those 14, 15 hours of classes a day, you would have to probably spend 35, 40 hours in general to actually study and prepare for your degree better. If I compare it to my bachelor's degree, which is completely different because it wasn't in the UK, we had a lot more hours of classes. So we had a lot of more theory, but in here you have a lot of more practical side. So as my colleagues mentioned before, you have the library filled with people that can help you out. You have seminars that can help you put in practice what you've learned in the classes as well, and they're part of that hourly amount of hours that we have. So yeah, I would say it would be around that time as well.
Cool. Does anybody else have anything they want to sort of add to the sort of course life? Talk about practicals or assessments or anything like that?
No, not really.
No, all covered. I think we did have one question about assessments, which I think Beatrice did cover. So thank you very much for posting that in. Sorry, I've kind of got quite a few comments coming through now. Oh, sorry, it was here at the bottom from Raj. So asking about assessments. So as Beatrice mentioned, and Tay, I think, touched on as well. Some of them are those presentations. Some of them are the exams. Dennis is fortunate enough this year not to have any exams. So really, you can sort of work to your strengths in regards to that. Now, I'm conscious of time, and we've got lots and lots of topics to start to kind of get through. Caroline, I'm going to jump over to yourself again very quickly, and just to talk a little bit about time for a part-time job and how you sort of have that sort of extra stuff on the side to kind of support you at university. So I'm going to just jump straight back over to yourself again.
Yeah. So you have lots of facilities as well when it comes to choose a part-time job. You can either choose to have a part-time job within the university or outside. So, for instance, being a student ambassador is a part-time job that we have, and it works very well because the hours can vary and it works by shifts, which means that you will apply for a shift in which you are available to work on, and it will work accordingly to the studies that you have to do, to the assignments that you have to accomplish as well. So it does not exist a conflict. So in my personal experience, I had this part-time job as a student ambassador, and I also had a part-time job outside of the university itself so that it can help me with expenses. This can be a little bit concerning for some people, as international students can be scared to apply for jobs, or if you have a lot of choice to pick up from. Yes, you do. The university provides you with all of the tools online. If you search on our website, you have all of the things that you need to get to actually apply for jobs, like the national insurance number, for instance. It may seem kind of complicated for people to get it, but it's not. It's literally when you move to the UK, you call them, you book an appointment, you get a national insurance number, and you can apply for a job. And most of the jobs accept you before you get the national insurance number. You can just get a temporary one. So yes, indeed, you can have a part-time job, and it is, I'm not going to lie, sometimes it would be stressful to manage, but as long as you keep yourself on track, you're able to combine them both, not lacking the work or the experience itself that you're having at the university.
Cool. I think that's a good point to actually ask, and I might want to put this to Dennis and Beatrice as well, is how did you kind of manage your time between the course, or how do you manage the time between your course and maybe a part-time job, or maybe your societies and stuff that we'll come on to in a minute?
All right.
Okay.
I'll go to Dennis first.
All right. So, as I said before, it's not really my first degree. So I had a trial in my undergraduate, and now I'm in my master's. I kind of master time management in a way. One of the good things about being a student, a master especially, is that you work around your timetable already. So you get to pick and choose whatever shifts, as Carolina said. So it helps you a lot with doing that. But one of the things that's very, very important is don't overwork yourself. You know the limit that your body has, so it's very, very important not to overwork yourself. In terms of like time management, what I do, I use post-its for every single thing. Like I have one in front of me right now. Every single thing. So every time like I have like an assignment or anything that's coming up, a meeting or something, I would always write it on the post-it and just post it to my wall, and also enter it into my calendar so I have an idea of exactly what is happening. Um, Although you want to have a part-time job working through school, always remember that your schoolwork takes priority. I think a lot of persons don't understand that, but your schoolwork, it takes priority. So make sure that you put more effort into your actual schoolwork than into your job, So you have to know how to balance it all correctly, yeah.
Cool. Beatrice, do you have anything to add to that? Or...
No, I think it's the same, yeah, that
Cool.
we said.
Yeah, I think Dennis wrapped that up quite nicely. Just having a look in the comments again, Angela has said, I trained at DeMont University, lots of help and support offered towards coursework and practice. So thank you very much for that. You won't go wrong with this university, as she said. Brilliant. Oh, I really like to hear that praise, and I really like that we were able to support you. So just another example of that whilst we are on the subject. I've lost my script now. There it is. I've got it back, everyone. It's okay. So yeah, I think we've talked a little bit about sort of the part-time job side of things. And then we're going to try and move into the sort of social side and some of the more fun stuff that you can do at university. Because I think that's a big part, I would say, is the being able to enjoy your time, being able to kind of remember your time at university quite fondly, looking back at the things you can get involved in. So Carolina, can I ask you again, I'm going to put you on the spot again, and just talk a little bit about sort of things like sports teams and societies, maybe?
Yeah. So as for the societies option that you have plenty of societies tackling lots of different subjects. You have music, dance, TED Talks. You have societies that can be like group wise. So I think you have a Caribbean society as well. I'm not pretty sure. So if you go onto the Student Union website, you can actually scroll and see the options that you have there. So as for how can you get in or how can you be involved, when you start your experience at the Montfort, you'll pass through the Freshers Week. Usually in there you have stands. Each society has a stand in there, and you can talk to them. You can see when they have the taster sessions. You can ask them questions, how to be involved, what are they doing, if they have competitive teams. For example, I'm part of the DMU Pop Society. So you have like the group. So you have 2 times a week, you have a dance class. And then you had a specific team inside of that you can apply, you can audition to, and you can actually go to competitions and represent the Montfort all around the city or the country itself. So that can be a really good option for you as well. As for a lot of people ask if they pay for it as well. It depends on the society. For example, the hip hop one, you have to pay £10 for the yearly membership, and you have 2 classes a week, and you can go to as many classes as you want. You can be as involved as you want. And then, for example, you have other societies in which you don't pay. You have other societies in which you pay £1 per class, and this is basically to like support them as well, because they're made from students to students. So usually there are people that have been in DMU for quite a bit longer than you that are about to get in. So they will help you out better. And that's why somehow you need to pay membership. But just double check what we have on the Student Union website and on Instagram as well, because there are plenty of options for you to join.
Cool. So we found out a little bit there about one particular society. I think, Dennis, you said you were also part of a society as well?
Yeah, I'm definitely part of a few societies here on campus. I'm part of the Caribbean Society, African Caribbean Society, Adventist Students on Campus, also Student Ambassador Society. And it's really good to be part of these societies. I know someone asked earlier how easy it is to make friends, but being part of these societies, honestly, you are able to make some of the best friends that you would ever have here at university. So I would definitely encourage anybody to actually join societies. And even if there isn't a society that you're interested in, you can actually go ahead and start a society as well. So all you have to do is just get yourself and three other friends, I think it is, to just sign the form, which is on the website on demontfortsu.com, I think it is. All you have to do is just sign up, and you can create whatever society that you want, because there are a lot of societies out there. There are some very interesting ones. You have like Harry Potter Society, Cocktail Making Society. Listen, the list is endless. So even if you don't find something there for yourself, you can definitely go ahead and just start your own society and actually get persons to join in and promote it at Freshers Fair. Because I think there are like two Freshers Fair. There's one at the beginning of semester one, and then there's a freshers feel. Yeah, I think I call it right. Yeah, which is at the beginning of the second semester for students that are starting in January.
That's perfect. I think that's, again, a really good shout out there to some of the other societies that we've got, and there are so many different societies. Now I'm going to ask a very hesitant question here. Is anybody part of a sports team?
When I was at uni, I was part of the badminton society. It was for more for the social aspect, because my friends were doing it and we all had a passion for badminton. So I did join badminton. And if you did want to play with sports with DMU, we do have a DMU sports scholarship. So if you were really good at football or something else like rugby as well, and if you want to play, you can play nationally and you can play for the university, and you do get a sports scholarship, and that would waiver your tuition fee. So that's something to think about when you are looking at applying to universities.
Yeah. So yeah, the reason I said that was hesitant is because I almost knew for a fact there that maybe none of us were particularly sporty. I know I'm not.
I'm not.
So Tay was our odd one out there until she said I joined it for the social side, but that's good.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps to answer some of the questions about making friends that we've had in the stream as well. Just to add to that, does anybody else have any other advice for making friends at university outside of societies?
I think you just got to remember that when you are coming into university, you are in the same boat as so many people. A lot of people would have moved away from home, moved countries, and they're same worried about you, about the course, whether they made the right choice. So that kind of sense of unity there. So it's always nice to speak to them. And again, when you are moving into these accommodations, don't be scared. It's a great place to make friends. And some of these people will be your friends for the rest of your life. I'm still in contact with the people that I made friends there. And I think it's just, don't be scared. Put yourself out there. Reach out. And again, with societies, you're meeting people with the same interests as you, meeting people on your course with the similar interests as well. So yeah, definitely, it's easy. Don't worry about that.
Cool. Hopefully, Jeanette, that has answered your question a little bit there. Are there any activities which you can, which are available to do in your free time? Societies and sports teams, really great opportunities. Dennis named a few there, which is brilliant. And then obviously we talked a little bit about making friends, which, as Beatrice talked about earlier, and I think Carolina mentioned as well, it's easy to make friends from your societies. It's easy to make friends from your accommodation. So hopefully we've been able to answer that. Last couple of bits that I want to touch on, some of the travel opportunities. Now, Ali, I'm going to hand over to you to talk a little bit about DMU Global.
Cool. So with DMU Global, it's an opportunity for you to go on paid trips abroad. These are from an academic standpoint, but also there is option for you to do voluntary trips as well. So our most famous one really is the New York trip that I believe that a lot of students have gone on. And it is from, like I said, from an academic standpoint. So, for example, for me, when I was studying business, it was from a marketing and business standpoint. So we did go to look at some, startups and that sort of thing in particular. But also from a voluntary standpoint, the trip to Gambia was really eye-opening as well. So there is option for you to do that, and it does add to your employability really. And I don't think I can stress that enough. You know how important you need to make sure that you're giving yourself the best edge possible.
Cool. And I believe there are scholarships available for that.
There are scholarships available for that, yes. So there is a bursary that you can apply for, and with that bursary, there is normally enough money for at least 2 trips per year. So you could go on roughly with undergraduate courses of 3 years. So you could go on 6 trips over the time that you're with us, and there's lots of different ones. So I've talked about New York, but there are trips to Europe. So looking at Berlin. Looking at Paris and various other opportunities available. So really get out there and explore the world, because the world is your oyster.
Amazing. That's really, really cool. So those sort of trips as well are just something else that you can get involved in at university, and something else that we just wanted to mention. Last couple of bits. If you haven't got any more questions at all towards the end of the live stream, because we are going to be wrapping up over the sort of next 5-10 minutes, do make sure you pop those in the comments if there's any burning questions that we haven't answered during this stream. I'd realised that an hour really isn't not long enough to kind of get through all these different comments, different aspects. But hopefully we've been able to highlight that there's quite a lot of different aspects to university to consider at this stage. But hey, one part of university that I think some students might be asking about is just about placements. Carolina, you touched on it a little bit earlier to do with part-time work, but Tay, could I just ask you to just talk a little bit about your experience doing a placement?
Yeah, so I did see a comment about this. I was happy. Placement, because I was staying at home, I did want to go out and, be away from my family for a little while. So I chose to do a placement, and you get options. You get 3 industries that you want to go into. So mine was marketing, education, and hospitality, I believe. And I come from a history background, and I chose that because I didn't have a career path. So when I did get my placement, I got my placement in marketing in the dating industry. Now, these are 2 very different things that I do know nothing about. As a historian, what is marketing? What is, dating industry? With the placements, some of them are paid and some of them are not paid. So it depends on the university and the kind of scholarships that you receive. With my internship, my internship was fully funded, so my university, they paid for it, and all I had to do was pay for the flights and also the visa. Everything else for 2 months, for example, any other extra trips or anything to do with work or anything like that, everything was paid for. And with these I was able to learn a lot of different things. History, I chose history because it has so many transferable skills, research, analyzing, and, presenting. And I was able to take those skills into the workplace and apply it there. And again, you have to remember, these internships or placements, they don't necessarily have to be in the UK. They can be in any part of the world. If you, I was studying Chinese, so I thought China was a good, country option for me, for me to be in an environment where I can improve my language skills and include, have that global experience as well. So definitely, look into those internships and placements. I honestly had the best time of my life, and I would want to do it again if I had the opportunity, and especially if you are staying at home and you want to get that whole university student life experience.
Absolutely. Does anybody else have anything to add with regards to placements and work experience, just while we're on the subject? No? I think Tay wrapped that up nicely. So hopefully we were able to answer your question there, Daisy, about placement year opportunities. At DMU, yeah, definitely. And you'll be supported by the teams at the university to kind of help you with those. Hen, I know you've asked a couple of questions about some course specific stuff that we might not be able to get to today. But what I'll do is I'll give you some details of where to go after this live stream, and some email addresses you can pop some emails to, and they'll be able to they'll be able to kind of support you with those as you kind of move through the process. We have had one from Ricardo, who says, can we find a job easily in Leicester?
Yeah. We're a very student-friendly city. We have 2 different universities here in Leicester, so a lot of our retail stores, they know, and there's always jobs available, part-time jobs, so it's really easy, and town is really close to De Montfort University, literally 5 minutes away. So if you did want to find work in town or anywhere else, it's totally fine.
Yeah, Carolina, you touched on this earlier, but can I jump back to you again?
Yeah, so it is quite easy. You have loads of platforms online as well. So as I said previously, either you go through the university or you try to find a part-time job in the city. So you have restaurants, a shopping center, cinemas, pretty much everything is always hiring for something. So you can apply to as many jobs as you like. They know that the city, as they said, is very student friendly. So it will be with no doubt easy for you to find something you'd like to work on and to help you out.
Lovely. Anybody else want to touch on that, or happy? Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Just this might again be directed slightly more at Tay, but our placements and internships available during term time. Now I know that the university has got some schemes internally that will offer you sort of short internships. But is there anything you want to add to that one?
So you have the front runners internship, which is basically you kind of do like an internship for DMU, and it lasts all the year. Basically, when you start, it starts in like October when you start classes, and it finishes in May or March. I'm not pretty sure. But so basically, you are actually like working for DMU. It is paid, and you can apply for different positions related with the ones that you are interested in. So basically, for example, I applied to be a sustainable development communicator. I think, yeah. And so basically, it is like most related with communication and all that, but you also have things like to work with taxes or the research. I don't know, there's so many, which is great. And then it is really good if you are looking for some work experience. And since it is paid, it is really nice as well. And it's like, I think 10 hours per week. So you have time to still do like courseworks, play for your societies, night outs, things like that. So it's completely fine.
Cool. So I'm slightly conscious of time, so just having a quick look at the last couple of questions that we have got. Hen said part-time jobs have a lot of competitions for students, especially in Leicester. I think we have already kind of touched on this. I think, Carolina, you had the best advice there with actually looking a little bit earlier online.
Yeah. So it is, as I said previously, you have loads of different opportunities. And one thing that is important to have in mind is that Leicester is continuously growing. So there are constantly new places opening, new vacancies opening. So my advice, as following my personal experience as well, is that you start looking at things that are available, you start applying to things that are available as well, because in the end, you have loads of opportunities. Of course, there are loads of students as well, but most of the students, if not all of them, that want to get a part-time job can actually manage. And if you don't feel like finding something on the city because it is far from where you live, or because it's not suitable for you, the university can also help you out, as I mentioned as well. So you actually have platforms such as the Gateway, in which you can search for jobs. You can apply to be a student ambassador. So there are loads of opportunities. So I'm pretty sure you'll find something, honestly.
Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jeanette. I'm really pleased that we were able to answer some of your questions today, better insights of uni life at DMU. So thank you very much. And Shan, thank you very much for answering my question. Helped me put my mind at rest regarding university experiences. So I'm really pleased we were able to answer those here on the stream. Like I say, I'm conscious of time because we have just run over the hour mark. So what I want to just very quickly do is have Ali just finally do the last little section, which is just looking at sort of advice to future university students. So what should they be doing from today if they are thinking of going to university? What are their sort of next steps in terms of research?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think research is really key. So we have touched upon, looking at, material online, but ordering a prospectus is really, really important as well, because although online you will find information, there will be more specific university and course information that will be in the prospectus as well. but also, attending or visiting universities with regards to sort of open days and taster days or live streams like these are really, really beneficial, because it does give you again an insight into what it's like to be a university student, and kind of allay any of those fears that you may have. So yeah, really research your options, use the time wisely while you've got it, and obviously that way you'll be able to make a more informed decision when it comes time to come to apply for university.
I think that's really good. And I've just popped those links again. So if you do want to order a prospectus, as Ali said, you can find a bit more information about the courses through there. And then, as I say, unfortunately, because due to the lockdown, open days are a bit of a tricky task, but we are still going to be doing a virtual open day. So similar setup to this, we'll be able to answer lots and lots of questions. Okay, I think we're going to have to, unfortunately. And again, I know there's lots and lots of questions coming in, but there are... It's kind of time, unfortunately, because I know I've got to hand over the live stream to somebody else in a couple of hours. But for general sort of university questions, general sort of advice about your application and that sort of thing, there are a lot of different schemes online that you can sort of use, and there's lots of information online that you can use. So the other link I'm just going to pop in the chat now is for our Unibuddy page. Myself and Ali and Tay are all on Unibuddy, as well as lots and lots of current students who are from a variety of different courses. Fortunately, you guys are students on the live stream today. They're not Unibuddies. I'm definitely going to get you signed up at some point though. But any of our Unibuddies on there, including myself, Tay and Ali, will be able to answer any questions that you've had today that we weren't able to answer. So if you are unsure about anything, particularly to do with obviously current situation, the 2020 intake in September, any course related inquiries, go to that link just there, find myself, Ali or Tay, and drop us a message, and we'll try our best to answer those questions. Obviously, as I mentioned before, we have got obviously the virtual open day, which you'll be able to join, as well as a variety of other live streams going on between now and, well, essentially then. We're using this platform as a way to be able to try and educate students about university and that sort of thing. So we'll try and use these platforms to best sort of support you guys. So make sure you just come along to the live streams if you are so interested. There is, if you're on our website, on the dmu.ac.uk/live streams page, there's a booking form below, and that will give you a list of any sort of updated live stream dates. So if you're interested in jumping onto any of those, booking onto those, put your details in there, and we'll make sure to remind you for those. I believe next week there is a stream about HE and research and that sort of thing. So make sure you come along to that if you are in year 12 and you're not sure about any of those kind of factors. So I think that is it from myself. Thank you so much to my current students today who are supporting with the live stream. Thank you so much to everybody in the comments for joining us, for coming along, for actually participating in this stream. Everybody that was sort of chatting along with us, so Hen, Shan, Jeanette for asking all those questions, Ricardo, Angela. There were so many people that was joining us along, so thank you so much. And thanks so much again to my wonderful guys here, as well as Tay and Ali for joining us and giving us lots and lots of information. Like I say, do stick around for the live streams. There is a placements focused live stream a little bit later on. Same sort of location on the DMU Facebook page and DMU YouTube, so you can check out those as well. And until then, thank you so much from us. Stay safe in the lockdown, and we will see you at the next one. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.